One of the things that I think it's basically a very ancient thing is this ability for some people to speak with such um, fluidity, basically very elegantly, very cleanly, perfectly communicate their ideas in a great way and sound very smart, right? Even make really logical arguments so that you get persuaded to think the way they do or think that their argument makes sense and is true. But then you might see the complete opposite argument and then you're convinced by somebody else. Like I've seen this in multiple cases, right? Like very niche examples, but one of them is like in coding standards, and the other one is with how to build a startup. I think, from what I understand, Peter Thiel's approach is completely opposite, perpendicular to the common approach from I guess you could call it the Y Combinator or the lean startup approach, where you just building small, iterating, and getting feedback from users and and the customers, as opposed to just kind of uh, doing it based on your beliefs and the fact that even getting feedback will be too delayed, and and I, I and this idea that you can just build it based on your gut. I think is what Peter Thiel is kind of more saying than not. Maybe misinterpreting or completely getting it wrong or missing some nuance. But I think at the end of the day, they're kind of opposing views from what I understand of these YC versus the Peter Thiel approach of building things and just having conviction and not really too worried about the customers or users early on versus the complete opposite approach of the users and customers is the only thing that matters. And clearly both can be successful. Then there's the Uncle Bob approach of like small functions and smaller the better versus a philosophy of software design where the argument is made that smaller functions and pass-through functions are horrible and modules that are really deep are really great with clean and simple interfaces that do a lot for you is the best. And at first I was kind of with Uncle Bob, but I think more recently, and after reading the Philosopher's Software Design book, I've been more towards the deeper modules with cleaner interface. I think that seems intuitively to make sense to me. I still like the concept of simple functions and using them as ways to name things. I'm not opposed to that. Still, I think it can be a balance, or you can take some of the ideas from here and combine them with mostly the philosophy of software design. I think is a great book, but the at the end of the day, they're opposing philosophies, right? And I do think the example they give about Java is a good one. But anyway, um, yeah, there's this concept of things that we believe and the way somebody presents them will sway us one way or another, right? And sometimes we might switch depending on who we heard last. Um, and you might go balance between, especially the things that don't have a clear answer. I think it can happen the most with these, where you're just like how to be creative or uh, how to make money, all these things where you can get persuaded, right? Like even I think one of the funniest clips in memory is just the lawyer who in Boondocks, the cartoon, right? There's this lawyer who's black, and he's always advised his clients, to work with a lawyer, to not sign anything or admit to anything, and then he himself is there's a scene where he himself is about to go to jail, and then he's crying. He's just saying like, "Do you mean if I sign this or if I admit to this, I won't go to butt raping jail or something along these lines, right?" Or just like crying and kind of got pressured and broken down by the system, even though he's supposed to know better. And I guess at the end of the day, we can all be like persuaded or like, depending on the pressure, life circumstances, even believe something that are at core we kind of know to be the complete uh, our core not believe in, right? And then believe it in this instance, or just the right circumstances make us change our mind. I can see this often with religion, when people become religious or not religious, when they switch, whether it's something like they weren't religious at all, and then they became super religious, and God is the thing that propels them and changed their life, saved them. On the other end, when people completely stop believing, I think it maybe I don't see that as often, but I think it's very common to people to have a deep belief in God where something happened to them or a moment in time that changed their life and they became super religious and a true believer, even though at their core maybe this most opposite of what they believed.